Please.
Is Amanda gonna be here or no?
Matt's not going to be here?
I don't know.
What about Amanda?
We're going to go, it is 4 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and get started.
Sounds great.
All right,
Is
so,
Amanda gonna be here?
No,
No?
she will not.
all right, we'll start this morning. You've got the copy of the agenda with you this afternoon. We're not going to be able to do the oath of office and so forth. We'll wait on that
Okay.
until next week.
Sounds great.
All right, and roll call. We'll start down at the end today. And
Well, she's gonna do it.
I put, hold on, I put the roll call in Matt's book, so here we go.
thanks. Thank you, ma'am. All right, we're going to go through the list of who's in attendance here in the room or has dialed in. Mike Bowie, Cindy Fox Griffey, Debbie Haley. There's no way all these people could be. I think we've got an issue.
Well, like I said,
Yeah.
I got 2 emails at the same time. One saying, both of them said the meeting was canceled, and then one was a sub-note that said, no, it wasn't canceled.
Yeah, let's go through real quick and see what happened. Matt Johannesman, Scott Kolkmeyer, Rick Masterson, Doug Meyer, Brian Pudman, Robert Schmidt,
Here.
Mike Steninger, and myself, Jim Tognoni.
What would you like for me to do?
Well, we need to find out whether people are actually, are we online?
Okay,
Are we live?
all right. I'm gonna go in the back room here and see what I can do.
Okay.
To make things more fun, I think Zoom has a huge problem this afternoon. I read that before I left on Bloomberg.
There you go.
There's mine.
Oh, there we go.
We're online.
Okay, good deal.
They can't
Right.
hear us?
Debbie,
Where's,
Cindy.
or Cindy Fox Griffin.
yeah, Cindy, if you can hear us, could you wave your hand or something? Okay, great, thanks. Right, so we're live.
Okay.
All right, this evening, we're going to open it up for public comment. Your name, please, sir?
I'm sorry, I didn't.
Your
hear you.
name, please?
Oh, yes. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Arnie C. A.C. Dienoff, County Public Advocate. I'd like to bring the attention of the County Transportation Department and also the County Road Board, which this contract will ultimately be before the County Council for approval. The City of O'Fallon had asked for a project and a roundabout at the corner of Tom Ginnever and North Cool Springs roads. That was in the STIP about a year ago, and all the votes at the city council level were either a tie vote or failed. There was a vote for a contract between the City of O'Fallon and the County Road Board to create a roundabout at this intersection. It's going to be very confusing because nobody in the community wants this roundabout. This roundabout is $1.8 million in cost from federal and county road board funds. There are 2 high schools. As we all know, new drivers are going to be kind of confused about what a roundabout is. It's a senior citizen district with nursing homes, retirement communities, and an older population. The city council vote failed the first round back in March, and that was a vote of the city council not to enter into an agreement and to scrap the project. The project, there's errors and mistakes in them where it was brought back for reconsideration, and as you all know, bringing back something for reconsideration, the sponsor must either, or the project must either have substantially changed or brought new information to the table. Nothing happened but a mere absence of a city council member, and so that vote passed by a skim margin. And now it's before the county road board for you to recommend to the county council. I would ask, because of the inconsistencies, the mistakes and the errors that you scrap this project and not approve the contract between the City of O'Fallon and St. Charles County for this roundabout that's not needed, not warranted, and the community definitely has outcried that they don't want this project. When it comes to the consideration from the municipalities, I ask that you be cognizant of our taxpayer dollars. Let's try to get the best bang for the dollar. Let's have an all-comprehensive program that includes paths, ADA compliance, drainage issues, street lighting. Let's have a comprehensive package to make sure that we're doing this right, that we're serving the needs of our growing population here in St. Charles County. And also, I just wanted to touch upon the overage of these projects. I want to make sure that the county holds to the fire the municipalities and the applicants to what they project their projects to be, and that the county does not pay any more overages unless there's a extraordinary or an emergency situation. Thank you very much for listening to my comments, Mr. Acting Chairman, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Anyone else for public comments this evening? Seeing no one, we'll move on to the next piece of business, which is approval of the January minutes. Have we had a chance to look at those? And,
I sent them.
yep.
I don't know if everybody's had a chance to look at them. We can table it or we can approve them now.
I'd feel better about doing that. Yeah, let's go ahead and table those till next month. All right, so now the fun part of the evening. The 2026 to 2028 TIP application presentations. We're going to start with the County Highway Department. It looks like they've got 5 applications they're requesting, so your turn, sir.
All right, we're all set up and, well, perfect. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Chris Bostic, the project manager of St. Charles County Highway Department. We do have 5 projects for you today. We have a kind of one of our more traditional road reconstruction projects in Hopewell Road. Then we have a couple of more safety projects, if you will, in terms of some curve realignments, and a CMAQ project, so a congestion project for a roundabout, and lastly a sidewalk project for you. I'm gonna jump right into it. If you have any questions at any time, feel free to interrupt me. We'll start first with the Hopewell Road Phase 2. So this project is follows immediately on from the Hopewell project that's currently under design and actually requiring right-of-way for right now. It's from Deer Road south to Hoffman Road, a distance of roughly a mile. It's like the old traditional farm to market roads out there. It's a narrow 2-lane road with shoulders, ditches along the roadside. This one has a couple of pretty sharp 90-degree turns on it. And as well, the pavement rating was fairly low at 4.2. I'm showing on the drawing, the location map on the west side there is some proposed development that'll be along roughly 2/3 of the project limits. Some of that's underway. Their homes already built up north on Hopewell, the Highway Inn and the Harvest development. This will be a continuation of that. So that's going to drive the ADT up considerably higher in the future. We just got a picture for you, just a general idea of what's out there again. What you say, it's trees close to the roadway, ditches, and narrow pavement. And then we have the 90-degree turns out there that'll also need to be smoothed. What we're looking at doing on this project is keeping it as a 2-lane roadway, adding curb and gutter, and then on the west side of the road we have a 10-foot wide shared use path for bicycles and pedestrians. And dollar-wise, this one is what has been submitted for federal funds. So I actually believe that we had to ask for construction funds in 2029, but it's a project that shouldn't hopefully be that complicated and could be accelerated. So we have $375,000 for design, and then we went with an 80-20 match with the federal money. Everything in the other column is the federal request. Now those are not approved right now. Well, here we'll get a tentative list in May, and it'll be more official in August as to whether or not this is a funded project. If I had to guess, I think it will be because of it's a good preservation project with a poor pavement score. And basically we're looking at a $5.73 million project, of which the 1.294 would come from the road board. And that is our one, kind of let's say, traditional road widening project. Moving on, our next project is a realignment of Huffmeyer and Benny Road. We came with the Benny Road project a couple years ago because it has a really unconventional intersection right with Huffmeyer and Route D. In addition, there's also two 90-degree turns on Benny Road. However, we just recently found out there's a large lot subdivision planned in the area, and we think there's an opportunity to actually extend Benny Road to the west into Huffmeyer Road, and then realign Huffmeyer Road to a better location on Route D where there's better sight distance. The current intersection at Benny and D there's a bit of a hill there which can block the sight distance, so we're looking at moving Huffmeyer to the west and extending Benny Road, which takes care of both of the 90-degree turns on Benny Road and cleans up the intersection. So this is just a look at that's Huffmeyer coming in on the right, and then Route D is where the stop sign is in the distance there. And this is just an example of one of the 90-degree turns on Benny Road. There's been a number of crashes over the years, just run off the road, type sliding through curves, those sorts of incidents. Dollar-wise, the roads are not eligible for federal funds. This would have to be an all road board participation project. So we do have some money down for right-of-way because there is a substantial acreage of right-of-way. The hope would be that the developer would dedicate all of that right-of-way, so the right-of-way cost goes away. We would also explore cost participation with a developer, but since we can't commit to that, Amanda had suggested we show you what the worst case would be here is. So that's why we have it listed out as a design, and then the right-of-way funds in 2027, and then construction work in 2028 for a total of $1.13 million. Hopefully less with participation. Okay, moving on. We have another curve project for you here. This one's the far limits of St. Charles County. This is a Route T. What we have here is a situation where Sneak Road intersects with Route T at just a really, really poor location. There's a hill that blocks sight of the intersection. And actually this project was brought to us by the resident who owns the property on the south side of the road. You can see by the barn closest to the road, there's a pathway, a driveway, if you will, from his house or his property close to Mile Lane that snakes through and up to Sneak Road. And he says actually a lot of people drive on that, even though it's his private property. They know that the intersection is so bad that they'll cut through his property so they can come out closer to the top of the hill by Mile Road. So this project looks to move that intersection to the south. He said he was willing to participate with us just to get the intersection moved to try and make this happen here.
I would say that is a bad intersection. I live off of Sneak Road.
Oh, okay,
And we'll
yeah.
actually take D to T just to bypass this intersection, if you're pulling, especially pulling a trailer.
That's what I've heard. There's a lot of trailers out there too. And so yeah, this gentleman also sent us a couple pictures recently. This one's from December. There was an incident. You can just see the way the hill hides the view. And then he sent us one actually from this week where a kid said he was coming up over the hill and there was a dump truck and he had to dive off into the ditch to avoid hitting the truck. So
And T's 55.
yeah, what they should be driving anyway, right? So that doesn't help either.
Suggest this.
Yes. So grand total on this one, this is a project we can probably design in-house, right away, maybe little to no cost, and then it's just construction of making that connection. So we're looking at a $600,000 project. Not a huge ask. I realize that's still obviously several $100,000, but something that could really, I think, make a difference out there. And again, Sneak Road's not functionally classified. It is a lower volume road, so it's not a project that's eligible for federal funding, unfortunately. Okay, I've got two more for you here. Next one is a project that we're submitting for federal funds on for congestion mitigation funds. This would be putting a roundabout at the intersection of Towers Road and Cox Hill Road. Both of these are minor arterial roadways. We did accounts out there, and we have over 550 vehicles in the peak hour. I believe that was the PM, but the AM is a similar situation. The primary movement is coming south down Cox Hill and turning onto Towers, or the opposite. Particularly in the morning, then would be eastbound on Towers, turning north onto Cox Hill. So this would be the elimination of a four-way stop with a roundabout. Just shows you here, there's the line of cars in the morning of everybody wanting to turn on the Cox Hill. And again, we have submitted this one for federal funds. We went with it as a complete 80-20. We usually don't ask for design work federally funded because we like to get things started sooner, but in this case we wanted to maximize the federal request. So basically we're looking at $552,000 total from the road board, and then $2,208,000 would be hopefully be federal funds if it is approved. It has been submitted again, so like the other, we're waiting to find out if it'll be funded or not. And lastly is a sidewalk on Hepperman Road. Hepperman Road, the north part here, this section from Interstate Drive down to Golf Club Drive, was rebuilt several years ago. That was a time before we were doing a lot of sidewalk work. So we had graded a path on a flat space on the west side of the road, but never actually put in the sidewalk. And now that we're continuing the work down Hepperman Road the rest of the way, that project is being set up to where there would be a path on the west side of Hepperman, so this will fill in the gap. There's obviously sidewalks along Interstate Drive and will be on the south end of Hepperman, so we're just trying to complete that gap.
Will this be done at the same time as the rest of Hepperman?
Timing wise, probably be later, just because Hepperman's about to go into right-of-way acquisition, so it should be under construction next year, and there's no way that we could, I don't think we'd have this done that quick. If it was just a simple sidewalk paving, that would help, but part of the issue is as you get to Peru Creek there, and I'll show you some pictures here, there's a bridge, and the bridge isn't wide enough to put pedestrians on it, so we'd actually need to have a separate pedestrian bridge over the creek next to it. So that's going to drive a lot of the cost on this project. So in this first picture here, you'll see on the right side that flat area behind the curb. That's where this sidewalk is intended to go. So that part through this, the majority of Hepperman Road, it'll be an easy section to come in there, grade and put a sidewalk in. The harder part is down here by the bridge. Everything narrows up. There's no shoulders anymore. So the creek's right there in the turn. So on the right-hand side is where we'd have to clear some trees and put a pedestrian bridge over the creek to get across that barrier. Again, just to look at the typical section, the pavement's already there, so it's just adding the sidewalk on the flat space. And lastly, price then. This we went close to 80-20 on right-of-way, utilities, and construction. There's really minimal right-of-way required. A lot of that was already acquired by the road project that was built several years ago. So we'd have some design cost. And then again, the biggest driver in the construction would be the pedestrian bridge. So we're about 70% federal, 30% road board would be the request on this one. So $565,000 out of a $1.84 million project. And that is my 5 projects, if you have any questions.
Questions? No.
The Benny Road, is there any thought of going further west before it gets into, is that D? It seems like that's a weird snake that you put into it. What happens to the existing road, so it doesn't happen?
Yeah, we'll go back to that picture here. It is,
That one, yeah.
yes. So I mean, this is a real rough sketch at this point. What's in there in the light green is the proposed lot lines of the development, so they'd have to modify that some to actually make this work. They were proposing really to change nothing out there in terms of the road network, just build their roadways off of Huffmeyer. So we were looking at that as the opportunity was we could split those lots on the east of Huffmeyer to extend Benny straight over. The old road, yes, we're looking at it. It looks like there's only one, maybe two entrances on Benny Road. So it can, the majority of the pavement can go away through that section. It can just be vacated. Part of it might have to stay in as a driveway. But no, most of the access is. Like there's a triangular piece south of Benny Road between D that accesses off of D and some of the other parcels. It's all the same ownership. So we're thinking that a lot of Benny Road would just be vacated completely. And the same would happen with Huffmeyer south of the new Benny connection. But,
Anything else? Thanks, Chris.
all right.
All right, next up this evening, the folks from Darden Prairie.
Good afternoon, Tom Weiss, Weiss Design Group, representing City of Darden Prairie. We also have city officials here, the city administrator and the new city engineer is here. So we'll dive right in.
All right.
Here's our 4 applications, a citywide safe routes to school, Weldon Spring Road, which is obviously very familiar with everybody, resurfacing of Bates and resurfacing of South Hanley. Okay, so what we did was we took a look at every school in the city of Darden Prairie, and we looked at what are some of the deficiencies of safety at those areas. The first one is Crossroads Elementary along Town Square, Old Highway N. And the biggest thing here was that there was some deficient sidewalk leading to the school on both sides of the school. Let's see, a little sensitive here. So the top left, you see that there's a really deficient asphalt sidewalk and there's some grade challenges and it's just really not in very good condition. So that's kind of the biggest thing on the crossroads. At Prairie View, there's a conflict at that entrance where all the cars are coming in and out, and the pedestrians, the kids that walk to school from the neighboring subdivisions cannot get into the school without crossing this. So our proposal is, the biggest part of the proposal is to get the kids into the school right off the sidewalk so they don't have to cross this very, very busy intersection. John Weldon is real similar to that. You know, and then we're also putting some, and I'll go through some of the individuals, but similar to that, we're crossing an entrance that's a highly busy entrance in and out at both times of the day. We're simply going to run those kids and pedestrians into the school at a different location. Down here at Osman, there's really no crossing here, so we're putting in rectangular rapid flashing beacons, et cetera. And the same thing along Hanley, which is there's an early childhood center, and then ICD is right down and uses the same entrances on Hanley Road. Some of those highlights of things that we're going to be doing at each of the schools. Oh, going the wrong way. New crosswalks, ADA ramps, rectangular rapid flashing beacons, with the high countermeasures that help with visibility, school zone flashing signs at every location. This is what the first one, Crossroads, the sidewalk area that's in disrepair that I discussed. And there's a typical section of that. Prairie View, that isolated entrance area that needs some help as far as the conflicts and the solar flashing school zone and high visibility crosswalks for there's a lot of kids that walk to this school. Similar to Osman, conflicts, rapid flashing beacons, we're going to use the flashing school zone. And this is Hanley Road, where we actually have ICD and the Barfield Early Childhood Center. And there's deficient ADA ramps in this area, actually right across from City Hall. You know, some of the ramps that we all know are out of spec. John Weldon, similar problems along John Weldon Road. We're planning on doing the rapid flashing beacons and that to get, again, a lot of kids are crossing from these neighborhoods on a road that's very busy, but yet it doesn't have a lot of the warnings when people are crossing. Here's our chart for the financials. We are asking for federal money. There's all of our percentages. And that's for all those school locations. Next, Weldon Spring Road, Phase 1. This is a much anticipated and hoped project from Technology Drive. And this is in conjunction with the City of O'Fallon. They're working on the other end of this, which you funded already, closer to Highway K. They're under construction. The roads are closed down there. We're starting at the other end, and so the goal and the conversations we have with the City of O'Fallon, we're going to try to meet in the middle. So this is our first leg and hope that we can get this section built up to Henning. A point of information, Henning, we already have a TAP grant that we're working on right now to improve the trail and shared use path along there. So this project would connect into an existing project as well. And again, road improvements, new curb and gutter, sewers, a sidewalk on part, but also a side path as well. This is existing conditions, so the pavement's not great either, but the big thing is to give it a shared use path, new curb and gutter, rectangular rapid beacons, flashing, etc. Raised crossings, a little bit of an alignment intersection at Weldon Spring and Technology. This has been endorsed by MoDOT because we are touching MoDOT out there at the Technology Drive. We do have a letter of support from them. And there's our typical section showing the shared use path. We do have some proposed preliminary alignments. We are going to be improving the radius and turning movement out here on Technology as part of this project. This is our first crossing. This is where the shared use path starts and goes all the way and will connect up to Technology. Two more crossings from those local neighborhoods. And then this is Henning Road where we're just going past to make that connection. This next phase will be even more difficult and challenging, Phase 2, but we're hoping to set the table for that with Phase 1. We are asking for a high amount of federal share to the tune, as you can see here. There's our breakdown. Bates is a lot simpler project. It's basically preservation, high preservation, but it does have pavement deterioration, existing conditions. It's time to do something with Bates Road before it gets too bad. Similar, we're upgrading all the pedestrian and bicycle movements, high visibility crosswalks where they exist, and the rapid flashing beacons, again, to improve those countermeasures. And here, just by some of it, when you go into doing design work and pre-design work, some of these countermeasures give you some percentages of pedestrian safety increases in how it reduces the different crashes and conflicts. And this is all part of the FHWA program. And why you would select that and what your reductions are expected. Typical section, again, we're not changing the cross section, we're improving what we have in striping, bike lanes, rapid flashing beacons. And here's a preliminary view with showing the markings and the pavement markings and the different crosswalks. This will be a phase 2, because Bates Road down here turns and heads towards McClure. We're not, we had previously asked for this project together, but we decided to separate it for funding purposes, and we were in phase 1 here, and then we'll reapply for phase 2 next year. Hopes that we get phase 1. The funding breakdown, we are asking for federal money to the tune of $836,000. There's our breakdown. South Hanley. South Hanley renovation. On this project, the city has already previously approved design funds by the road board. This is an ask for construction implementation only. So the hope is that we would get, if we, and we are asking, and there's the condition, as you can see, it's a lot of cracks, a lot of deterioration, overlay spots, there's curb ramps that need to be constructed to conform to current regulations. We got curb ramps that are there, but they're not really ADA conformed. And raised crosswalks, we're going to have a lot of visibility here. This is a very highly pedestrian movement. The city park, city hall, 2 schools, rapid flashing beacons, crosswalks. We've had extensive meetings with Sarah and Amanda on this project as well, and we share with you some of those comments that we've worked through together about how we can do this project. And still, one of the keys to this, City Hall being here and City Park over here, there's on-street parking, parallel parking, but we can't just lose that. So we're going to be doing some things that will say things like event parking only, because we want to be able to put in some bike lanes here. And so that's, all these comments are in conjunction with Sarah and Amanda, and we think it's a great plan if we can get the funding. But again, we're asking for implementation money only on this one, all the way to Feisey Road. So from Town Square to Feisey is our ask. Here's the breakdown. Again, we're asking for the federal money as well. And again, implementation only, which means construction cost and construction engineering is part of implementation. Questions?
What's going to happen if you don't get federal money?
If we don't get federal money on this project,
All of them.
all of them,
Let's say, I know you'll get some probably, but what?
well, it's likely that they will be tabled. Most of, now, this one, maybe not, because we would hope maybe the county road board could fit that into the, because it's not as big of a burden on the road board. But Weldon Spring, I don't see how we could do that without federal money. We have re-asked for the money on Bates, so this is our second go-through. We did break it out so we would have less ask. We try to listen to what we're hearing, and we've met with East West Gateway on these projects and talked to them about, okay, how do we improve our status in the points? And so, but the bigger ones, Weldon Spring and those probably would not be started without the commitment from federal money. Because they're pretty good sized projects. Is that correct? And the city administrator confirms that. Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I think I'm staying on the stage because we have the folks here from Flint Hill as well. And this is their first, I believe, first time on the ask. We did have a small ask and did receive the kind of a part of the start of the intersection of Mexico and Highway P, and we're in design phase on that project. So this project would be, it's showing on mine. It's showing on my screen, but, oh, there it goes. Yeah, little bit of lag. I gotta hit, so first phase of Flint Hill, so here's Mexico Road, and we're heading towards Highway 61 with our first phase. This is what I was referring to right here, this intersection. There was some corner rounding issues, and we applied for that separately. You're nodding your head. We've got pictures of buses getting high centered over here, so we're in design mode of the very eastern end of this project here. But the rest of this project is to set the table for safety improvements in downtown Flint Hill, which is becoming more and more popular, as you all know. We have a market here, restaurants going in, and development seems to be looming around Flint Hill. So we wanted to get a head start, but it's got a pretty high ADT. I'm sure a lot of you have been through here. It's a neat area, but a lot of heavy volume traffic and a lot of people speeding. And we've got people crossing the roads to go to the market, to go to restaurants, to go to the park, Flint Hill City Hall, Knights of Columbus, and St. Theodore Church and school. So a lot of important pieces. No curb and gutter, they're using roadside ditches. It's a MoDOT road. We do Highway P, so we do have their endorsement and support. And that is in our submittal to East West Gateway and to the County Road Board. Existing conditions, part of the church and school, the restaurant, City Hall over here, and again, right here is the parking lot for the Flint Hill Market. So we did some render work because people are wanting to see kind of really what it looks like versus just a plan. 10-foot shared use path over here is where it fits best based on what right-of-way is available. On the other side, will be improving and improving the 5-foot sidewalk, rectangular, rapid flashing beacons, and we're doing some median crosswalks. Because of the speed, because of the traffic, we felt this needed more than just your regular old quad. We needed that place, a refuse island. So that's where this comes into play. And we're doing, because the pavement is not terrible yet, but because we're doing new curb and gutter and improving all this, we're only gonna put, through our project area, put a 2-inch lift on it. So we're not proposing to rebuild completely Highway P. We're gonna use what pavement we have and just put from our project limits, an overlay. There's some sections. Shared use path as I discussed, and then sidewalk on this side with these refuse medians and there's one there, another one down towards, and then there's 3 total of those crossings, and then there's the pavement limits, and you can see the shared use path, you can see and through here, this is a little difficult because the Menino / Flint Hill Market, pavement kind of drops off, so we're going to have to do some creative things there with that side of the road. We are asking for a large share of federal money, $1.5 million. Surprisingly, it's an expensive short stretch, but there's a lot going on with the safety improvements, median crossings, new curb and gutter. We have to put storm sewer in order to build that, because right now you can't just put a sidewalk on top of a roadside ditch. There's a lot of things going on in this short distance. Questions?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next topic we'll move on to is new business. Is there anything one thing that needs to be brought up is that the meeting scheduled over the next couple of months is a little bit confusing at best. It'll be, we'll work with Amanda and make sure we get better guidelines on the dates and so forth. We might even be jockeying some meetings around. Any other business? Is there anything else we need to work through tonight? Our remote folks, anything? Okay, then our next regularly scheduled meeting is going to be on 21st May. We're going to hear some more TIP applications, and we'll take who moves to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Second, in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.